All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're going to demystify a technical term that you have absolutely bumped into if you're exploring modern tech. Whether you're, dabbling in new software, building websites, or just messing around with advanced chatbots, there's this one four-letter acronym that just seems to pop up everywhere: JSON. I know, it looks like someone misspelled the name Jason, but it's actually one of the most fundamental building blocks of the entire modern internet. So today, we're going to break down exactly how JSON works, completely from scratch. Now, if you've been using AI recently, especially if you're getting into prompt engineering or workflow automation, you've probably hit that frustrating wall where the system suddenly demands, quote, JSON format. You ask an AI agent to organize some data for you, and instead of just giving you a nice normal paragraph, the tool insists that you output the data strictly in JSON. Well, we're going to explore exactly why that happens, and why wrapping your head around this format is basically your secret weapon for getting the absolute most out of today's technology. Moving to Section 1, the Internet's common language, and how we bridge the communication gap. So before we can really understand why artificial intelligence is so obsessed with this format, we need to look at how we bridge the massive communication gap between entirely different software ecosystems. Honestly, instead of being some intimidating alien language reserved only for hardcore programmers, JSON is simply the universal Mandarin of the data world. Think about it for a second. The internet is made up of countless different programming languages. The front end of a website might be built with one language, right? While the back-end server running the database uses something completely different. Left to their own devices, they can't naturally understand each other's native memory structures. So JSON steps in as that lightweight, cross-language core translator. It's the common tongue allowing all these wildly diverse systems to swap data seamlessly, completely replacing older, way clunkier formats like XML. And the real beauty of it lies in its simplicity. JSON is literally just plain text. It's designed specifically so that both you and a computer can read it without, wanting to pull your hair out. It's a pure text carrier that strikes this perfect rare balance. A machine can parse it in absolute milliseconds, but a human can also open the file, read the text, and instantly understand what information is being shared. It's a total win-win. All right, Section 2, how JSON actually works. Keys, values, and real-world logic. To really grasp this, let's step away from the code entirely for a minute and look at systems we use every single day in the real world. You're actually already intimately familiar with the logic of JSON, even if you've never written a single line of code in your entire life. Just picture a standard supermarket receipt. It perfectly demonstrates JSON's absolute core mechanic, the key-value pair. You have the key, which is the item name, like an apple or milk. And then you have the value, which is the price, like $1 or $2.50. It's a direct pairing. You literally never have to guess what the price refers to, because the key and the value are permanently locked together. You see the exact same logic in something like a library checkout list. If a librarian pulls up a record, they see a category, like borrower name, paired directly with John Doe, or book title paired with The Great Gatsby. Again, it's pairing a specific category with its corresponding data. It's clean, it's organized, and it completely removes any ambiguity. And these everyday lists, they represent the basic building blocks of JSON. First, you've got those key value pairs we just looked at. When you can actually group a bunch of those pairs together into what JSON calls an object, kind of like a single complete library record for one person. Finally, you have arrays, which are basically just lists of things. Imagine a list of 10 different library records. By combining these super simple elements, JSON groups data into neat, predictable structures that literally any system can understand.
Moving on to Section 3, packing and unpacking data, the cardboard box of the internet.
Okay, so we know how the data is structured now, but how does it actually travel across the internet? Well, engineers call this process serialization and deserialization, which, sounds incredibly complicated. But it's really just packing your complex data into a plain text cardboard box for shipping, and then unpacking it on the other side. When a program needs to send data, it takes its complex, bulky internal memory and serializes it, meaning it packs it flat into a simple JSON text format. This little text box is super easy to transport across the web. Then, when the receiving program gets it, it deserializes the JSON, unpacking the text back into its own native memory structure. It is literally the ultimate shipping container for internet data.
Which brings us to Section 4, why AI loves JSON, taming the chaos.
So why are the smartest AI algorithms on the planet so dependent on this humble little text format? Well, it brilliantly illustrates a major problem. AI agents really struggle to process messy, rambling human thought, but they absolutely thrive on structured, predictable data. If you ask an AI to summarize a meeting and send the action items to a to-do list app, that app cannot read a beautifully written, rambling paragraph. It has no idea where the title of the task ends and the due date begins. But if the AI outputs that summary in structured JSON, the app knows exactly where to look. The data becomes entirely predictable. And that's the crucial point. Using JSON forces the AI to output information in a way that workflow automations can reliably read without just crashing. This is the secret sauce to making AI actually do things for you rather than just chatting with you. By mandating a JSON output, you guarantee that the data can be stably read, automatically extracted, and seamlessly passed along to the very next step in your automated workflow. It basically turns AI from a fun conversationalist into a highly reliable machine operator. Finally, let's hit Section 5, the limits of JSON. What JSON is not. Before we wrap up this explainer, it's equally important to understand what this format cannot do. While JSON is incredibly powerful as a universal translator, it is not some magic bullet for every single computing problem. JSON is exclusively a lightweight text carrier for structured data, meaning it's not a programming language itself. You can't write a script to do something using only JSON. It just holds the data. Furthermore, as we've seen, it's not some exclusive alien language. It's super accessible. And very importantly, because it's purely text-based, you definitely shouldn't be using it to send massive, complex binary files, like high-res videos or giant images. It's for structured text, plain and simple. So, we've seen how JSON acts as this essential bridge today, allowing our back-end servers, our front-end interfaces, and our cutting-edge AI agents to communicate flawlessly through structured keys and values. But as AI continues to evolve, becoming more autonomous and automating increasingly complex workflows at blinding speeds, it leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to consider. If JSON is the simple, text-based common language of today's AI, what kind of hyper-efficient language will AI inevitably invent to talk to itself tomorrow? Well, that's all for this explainer. Keep exploring and stay curious.